Hi, Bubba's. You see Bill?
And we are live. What's going on, everybody? You know what it is. Podcast for Nooners by Nooners, the Nooner Nation. Sorry about last night. Had an issue with the internet. I was getting everything set up for the show last night, and then all of a sudden the internet crapped out and came back on at about 2 a.m. last night. So it happens. But as you can see, I am joined by a very special guest. Some might say Drinking Bros' most eligible bachelor, and that's Taco the dog. No, we have the one and only.
Hey, why not?
We have the one and only Jack Mandaville with us. What's going on, Jack?
Hey, Bill Schofield, how you doing?
I am doing well, doing well. What are you eating?
I'm at the Black Rifle location in San Antonio office. I just picked myself up a chicken Caesar wrap for the road. I'm heading up to the studio in Austin right now to go do the the Friday Night Jack sesh. So yeah, just enjoying some snacks and some coffee on the way up.
Very nice, very nice. And that's a pretty new location in San Antonio, isn't it? Are you at the actual office or at the store?
No, I'm at the store right now. Yeah, it's on my way up. So I always try to swing in here and grab something on the way north.
Yeah. Do they like recognize you in there, or is it just another customer coming in to get coffee?
Sometimes it's both. A lot of people do, and then sometimes, yeah, it's just they ask if you want to if you are a veteran or a first responder for a discount, and I tell them I'm an employee, and they always look at me and they're like, "You? Oh, okay." Yeah.
Nice. Actually, I here in Des Moines about a month ago, I saw like a big box truck that was all wrapped in Black Rifle. So I don't know if they do distribution out here, if it's maybe they just, I'm sure you probably can pay to have just normal delivery trucks like to advertise on them, around town. And then, but I thought that was pretty funny. And then actually yesterday, I stopped in at the local Chipotle for lunch, and those two guys in there eating wearing Black Rifle like collared shirts, like employee looking shirts. So
it's everywhere. It's hard not to see them on the streets these days. Yeah, and we got like a fleet of vans now. I don't even know how many vans we have at this point. It used to be 4 years ago, you'd see one, you'd be like, "Oh, that's amazing!"
Right.
And now it's like, "Oh, there goes another company truck."
Yeah. It used to be, yeah. Yeah. Even if you saw somebody wearing like a Black Rifle shirt, you got really excited, right? You're like, "Oh, I know those guys."
Yeah, like you're part of the club.
Yeah. Actually, like one of the only times I've ever been like recognized out and about from like doing the show and Drinking Bros and stuff was I was in a grocery store here in Des Moines, and there was the guy in front of me was wearing like Black Rifle hat, Black Rifle shirt, had like a Black Rifle coffee thermos with him getting some stuff. And I had
he was decked out.
Oh yeah, super fan. And I had a Drinking Bros hat on, but I just like, "Oh hey, you like Black Rifle? Like those guys are awesome. I've met a couple of those guys." And he saw my hat, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Drinking Bros. I listened to that." I was like, "Yeah, I know those guys pretty well too." And I got to talking to him, and all of a sudden he just like stopped. He's like, "Yo, are you Bill from Des Moines? That's like on the show every once in a while?" I was like, "Oh yeah, that's me." And
Bill from Des Moines.
And he's like, "Oh man, like, can I get a picture?" And I was like, I guess." Kind of caught me off guard. And then he checked out and left. And then the lady, like the teenage girl working the checkout at the local Hy-Vee grocery store, kind of looks at me. She's like, "Are you somebody I should know?" And I was like, "No, absolutely not." So, but it was weird.
That's awesome.
I'm sure you probably had there was a time in your life where getting recognized in public was a little odd.
It still is, because maybe happens. It depends on how much I go out. I'm kind of a recluse. I'm typically either at people I know, but if I'm going out, a couple times a week. But that's not enough for it to be a normal thing. So it still catches me off guard at times. sometimes you know if someone's looking at you, that they are doing the
Right.
I know this guy from somewhere size up type of thing. And a lot of the times, it's not, oh, Jack Mandaville. It's like, you were in that thing. I'm like, yeah, which one? Like, that TV. I'm like, I was in a couple of those things, yeah.
Weren't you the guy with your dick stuck in a blow-up doll for an hour and a half?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I still get those every once in a while, yeah.
Yeah. Did you at least keep one of the blow-up dolls? Do you, have it in your apartment?
Yeah, so we went through 17 during production. The wardrobe girls, who I spent a lot of time with because of the blow-up doll, on the last day, they cut one of the blow-up doll's heads off of the body, where it's like the thick plastic, and they signed the blow-up doll's face for me, and I still have that. If I were to ever do a Range 15 shadow box, that would probably be the centerpiece. It's a fun memory, going to wardrobe every morning and having to have them rig me up into my blow-up doll so it looked like my dick was properly stuck in there,
Yeah, I mean, who's to say it wasn't, It looked pretty real.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I got method acting. Yeah.
Yeah, and for those who don't know what we're referencing, Jack was part of the cast of a veteran movie, Range 15, with a bunch of people you'd probably know from the community. Matt Bass, Ross, Evans in it. A couple Medal of Honor recipients, Danny Trejo. They were all in it. So I think it was like the
Shatner, like big acting names. We were like the lowest names on that totem pole.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't I believe, if memory serves me correctly, it was like the highest grossing independent film of, what year was that, 2016?
2016. It was the second highest on iTunes and Amazon. We lost to it was the second highest, yeah, from what I believe. It was the first highest, I think, in comedies, but as far overall, I think it was like number 2. But we had a theatrical release of over 400 theaters, so that definitely pumped the numbers up a good bit.
Yeah, and it seemed like from everything I've heard, it was a blast. Everybody loved doing the film and all the stuff afterwards. So,
yeah, I'll tell you what. When we were in it, he was one of the ADs, a guy named Hollywood Hurd, told me that you need to appreciate this now because it's not normal to be on a film this big your first time around. And everyone on the crew, and even a lot of the cast who were regular actors, they told us that this isn't a normal set. It's really good vibes. And after years now of working on more normal sets, looking back on it, it was a really tremendous period. And it was different. It wasn't just because it was my first time. I've never been on a set like that since, where none of the actors were in their trailers at all. We were all just hanging out together in the common area, even when we weren't working.
Right. Yeah, great. So also, thanks for taking the time to come on, man. I appreciate it. I'm assuming that you're just too much of a Midwesterner to say no to things like this.
There's a bit of it. I was up late last night. I was thinking a Midwest thing about the only people that I allow to call me buddy, where I know it's not like a condescending thing, are people from like the upper Midwest, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, the Dakotas, because buddy really is like a term of endearment up there. But I've noticed like everywhere else in America, buddy's a little condescending. Yeah, I was just thinking about that kind of Midwest idiosyncrasy last night. And yes, there's a degree of Midwestern. I don't think that's a Midwestern thing. I'm just a pussy, Bill. That's all. But I want to come in and talk to you, and I love this opportunity. And everyone's been telling me about the Nooner podcast forever. People call in and tell me about the Nooner podcast. I'm like, I got to get around to fucking seeing what this is all about.
Yeah, it's funny. Kind of the story behind it is, during the pandemic, the Drinking Bros, they were always going live. That's when they kind of jumped off this whole shooting live every day thing. And when you go live, and this on YouTube, there's the live chat, and kind of through the pandemic, especially for like Ross and Jesse's show, Ross Patterson Revolution, the live chat kind of became its own character within the show. So
Holy moly! Joel showed me that. Yeah, I've seen it before.
yeah.
It's something else.
Oh yeah. So then just throughout time, getting to know the people in the live chat and stuff, there's a lot of really interesting people and funny people. And then, so yeah, I figured I'd start this up and highlight some of the people in the community, come on, have fun. It's a very niche show, but it's our niche, as somebody told me. So I enjoy doing it for sure.
Yeah.
Kind of
y'all know each other very well, it seems like. A lot of you do.
Oh yeah. A little too well, some of us, but.
Yeah.
I think
we got to do it.
My most viewed episode is Jessica explaining the time that she had sex in the Drinking Bros studio and broke the couch. So. Yeah. So that's the most.
Oh, that old studio had some stories, I would imagine.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The new studio's nice. Are you getting your own set up in there?
Yeah, so I keep meaning to come in on a Thursday or super early on a Friday, but there's always something. 2 weeks ago I was balls deep into this article that I've been writing, and then yesterday I was filming from about noon till almost 7 o'clock at night, or 6:30ish. And so I haven't been able to get up to the studio early and just set everything up. But I'm thinking next week I'll have the opportunity to go in there on a Thursday and fully decorate the place, and that will be the set from now on.
Yeah, awesome. And you're also going to be going on just the proper YouTube channel, right? You're not going to be doing Patreon.
Yeah, I'm going to be going. We are pretty much already are on proper, but yeah, we're going to be doing an RSS feed. You'll be able to listen to. You'll be able to go to iTunes and Spotify and all that kind of stuff and listen to it. And we're gonna, in a good way. People don't like hearing this because they like the. I like the mayhem of the show. They like the mayhem of the show, but we are going to be tweaking the structure a bit. Okay. It's still going to be a call-in show. It's still going to be a call-in show. It's still going to be what you're seeing now, but we're just adding levels to it where there's going to be more comedic levels that we're going to have within the show, which I'm really looking forward to. Joel's been a huge help. He's been on board, and Joel's also really going to evolve his persona within the show, and he'll be more of a character on the show instead of just like the producer who I ramble at times,
Right. Yeah. So going big time. I had a blast the other week helping you produce your show in Minneapolis.
Yeah, that was fun. You did a great job, man.
Yeah, I was a little nervous about it. Like again, you know how it is behind the scenes. It's all chaos until you stop filming. But yeah, I was sitting there wondering when the camera was going to die because they sent me the wrong power cord for it. So I was running off a battery, and then.
Yeah.
Like audio is something that I'm still kind of learning as far as like when looking at levels and stuff, like what's going on. So I was really worried the whole time about like your microphone picking up somebody else's voice and echoing, but it seems like it turned out pretty well. And it was definitely a fun time for sure. Great hotel room.
It was a fun time. You and I had a great, back and forth, and, we didn't have enough time to get everybody in there on, but we were able to get Holly and her sister Amber on, and that was fun having them on. We talked about Hot Dish, which there was a young lady that I work with. She was talking about this guy she met from Minnesota, and she's like, "Do you all really is tuna casserole really a big thing up there where you come from?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's like street tacos down here. Oh, yeah. It's just a staple of the diet." She didn't believe me that it was a thing. The idea of tuna casserole was such a foreign concept to her. So it was just kind of funny that Amber was giving her best hot dish recipe because everyone's got their own little way of doing it.
Oh yeah. Was it I mean, I know some people put like green beans in theirs. You know, some people go hash browns.
That's how my mom did it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yes, I'm trying to think. Oh, the ongoing battle and Drinking Bros and Nooner live chats right now is where do cheese curds fall on like the overall totem pole of foods? Jonathan, who you met, we all know him as Jonathan. He's leading the charge for he's leading the crusade for cheese curds.
Well, cheese curds are absolutely amazing. It's hard to find. There's a chain called Culver's that's headquartered out of Wisconsin. They make them so there's we have a Culver's here in San Antonio. There's one up in Austin, but you don't see them served at normal joints. It's definitely a Wisconsin, Minnesota, probably a Dakota, maybe a Michigan thing. But yeah, they're amazing. I mean, they're basically Midwestern mozzarella sticks.
Pretty much, yeah. You get them. You can get them in pretty much any bar in Iowa, but it seems like at the Missouri border, like they stopped serving them once you get to the Missouri border. You know, yeah, no cheese curds.
Well, because the Midwest has a lot of different. Wisconsin and Iowa have more of the French / Germanic influence of culture, where Minnesota and the Dakotas is more of the Scandinavian / Germanic influence, and then Michigan is just like northern dudes with Confederate flags and that wear nothing but camo, and then you go into the city and everyone looks like Eminem.
Yeah. You got guys trying to kidnap the governor and shit. In Michigan. Yeah. Detroit.
Yeah, a little more chaotic there than places like Wisconsin.
Yeah, no kidding. Minneapolis is a nice town. I enjoyed it. I know it's had its
cool town, man.
It's had its turmoil over the past couple of years, but overall it still seems like a pretty awesome place.
It is. Yeah, I went there shortly after all that stuff kind of died down, and it was sad. It was tough. It was tough to see kind of the state the city was in, but it seems like it's, from what I recall, then again, I haven't lived there in like 16, 17 years, but it seems like it's kind of back to the Minneapolis I remember.
Yeah, it was nice. It was I mean, you're always when you get in a bigger city, you're going to have big city things, right? Like, it's not going to be as clean, and you're going to have homeless. But overall, I mean, it's clean, it's fun, it seems pretty safe. At least we were downtown, so I'd imagine there's probably some rough places in Minneapolis, but overall, it was a good time. And like I said, I got us a really cool hotel room to do the show in. That was pretty dope. Kind of this weird, I don't know, like almost like Great Gatsby kind of vibe, but almost kind of
Art Deco is what it's called.
Yeah, Art Deco, and then almost like trying to think like the end of Art Deco and almost kind of fading towards mid-century modern kind of vibe, So
yeah, I definitely got some Gatsby vibes with that interior.
Yeah,
it's really cool though. Like we went up to that the top floor where they have the probation, which is a cool bar up top where you can overlook the city, and it's at the Fauché Tower is built like one of those old skyscrapers, so it kind of
tapers.
Slowly pyramids in. So that top bar, you can kind of see the whole 360 view of the city.
Yeah. I mentioned that. You can tell it's an old skyscraper because it tapers. So like every floor was just kind of like a dare from the architect. It's like, I think we can do one more.
Yeah.
Would I do that? It's like, maybe
How
one
far
more.
can we take this?
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was a cool place. It's the W Hotel at the Fauché. I definitely recommend it if you're in downtown Minneapolis. It was cool. After we went out to dinner, I went into the bar, the hotel bar, because it was popping off pretty crazy, and very stylish, very swanky place. I'm pretty sure I was approached by a lady of the night at the bar, so it was a good time.
Wouldn't be a bad place to have clients.
Probably not. And she seemed classy. But then she was like trying to put her number into my phone. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm not interested.
Yeah.
So.
When you're in Vegas, and if you're in Vegas, and a hot woman just comes up and talking to you, she's a hooker, man. She's not really interested in you for your looks. She's gonna eventually ask for money.
Oh, well, here's the thing. In the end, Jack, they all eventually ask for money. Yeah.
That's I've had my wallet bled in the past. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, I reminded Vegas. There was a time I went out there with my brother-in-law for his 21st birthday. This was 10 years ago, and we were staying at the Trump, like the Trump Hotel in Vegas.
Yeah,
it's actually a pretty nice place. It's kind of nice to be able to walk into your hotel and not have to go through like a mile of casino to get to your room. But we were so he's in the Air Force. He works on F-16s, I believe. But at the time, he was supposed to start training to be a fighter pilot, but his vision was too bad, and they couldn't get it corrected enough.
Yeah.
But I was telling him, like, dude, you're single, you're 21, you're in Vegas, like, just be a fighter pilot. Like, nobody knows, And
yeah.
So he'd never use it, never use the line on these girls. And finally, I think we're at Paris playing blackjack. And this like super hot Asian chick comes and sits down next to him. And they start talking. Well, she's there for Nopi, which is like a big import car show. She's like one of the Asian models in a G-string feathering off the cars. And they get talking. I don't know, she might have been working him. I don't know. It seemed pretty genuine talk. But then she like finally, after about an hour of them kind of flirting while they're playing blackjack, she's kind of like, oh, well, like what hotel are you staying at? And I was like, oh, man. I was done playing by that point, just hanging out. And but I immediately like, oh, man, like something might happen. And then he's like, oh, we're staying at the Trump. She's like, oh, I've heard those rooms are gorgeous. And I light up even more like, oh, man, like my brother-in-law is going to hook up with this like smoking hot chick. Because he's a pretty good looking guy as well. And he kind of like looks at her and goes like, we like price lined it for like $100. Like next time you're in town, you should check it out. And I've never seen a female's face drop so quickly. Like the confusion on her face was almost like she almost seemed insulted.
He's basically saying, I'm going to fuck your brains out.
Yeah.
And he just
yeah.
Subconsciously.
Yeah, like just be like a nice guy, like, oh yeah, like, huh. Yeah, you should check it out. It's a nice hotel. I like my jaw hit the floor. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, what? I was like, do you not see what's happening here? He's like, you think? I was like, I'm about to have to call your sister and explain to her why I have to have sex with this chick at our room, Like she teed this up and you just dropped the ball, man. Dropped the ball. This was also the night before I took him to the Spearmint Rhino in Vegas, the strip club, and had an old man had an old man rub my shoulder. It was fucking weird.
Okay, well, I mean, that's nice. That can be nice as long as it's not in a weird setting.
So, I think I've told this one before on the show, but like, we're at the bar, kind of. You've been in there. It's laid out, kind of weird, but
I have not.
Oh,
I have not been in there. I've had clients in the past that love strip clubs. I'm not a strip club guy. It's not for any moral reasons. I don't look down on people who like strip clubs, and I don't look down on strippers. I get the hustle. It's just for me, it doesn't make any sense to spend money to look at titties when I got fucking, the internet at home. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So for me, it's like a fiscal thing.
Yeah. Oh, I'm the same way. I'm not a huge strip club guy, but we could see it from our hotel room. Like I was on the phone. My wife didn't come with us. I was on the phone with her. I was like, oh yeah, the Spearmint Rhino's across the street. She's like, oh, it's Chris's birthday. Like take him over there and, get him like, whatever he wants. I was like, okay. So anyways, we go in there. I'm asking him what he's into. Surprisingly, for some reason, because of the night before, he's like, oh, I'm into Asian chicks. I'm like, well, you blew last night, so what the fuck's your problem? But End up getting him a lap dance. So he's like, we're kind of sitting at this bar, and like he's on one side of me, and then there's probably like this, I don't know, late 50s, early 60s dude, like well dressed and stuff, at the bar beside me. On the other side of me, he's getting a lap dance from this Asian chick, and I see this guy beside me kind of keep like looking around me at this girl. Like, okay, like there's this like hot naked girl right here. Like, I get it. Then he reaches over and starts rubbing my arm. He's like, man, that chick has me so hard right now. And I was like,
Oh yeah.
I was like, nope, done.
Yeah.
Nope. I think I took like $100 out of my wallet, handed it to my brother-in-law. I was like, hey man, I'm gonna go like find somewhere to play craps. I'm done with this.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
great.
creepy experience, but it's a nice place. If you're in Vegas and like strip clubs, I mean, it's pretty classy. It's a lot classier than, you know, most Midwestern strip clubs.
Oh yeah. So you know what I like? So with those clients, I used to go to them like literally because this guy gives me money. I'll get to drink for free. I'll make the best of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not paying for dances. So I've been to clubs from New York to DC to Florida, and you know, obviously the Midwest and Vegas, LA, all that. I gotta say, I really like. You know why I like the New York strippers the best is they're all business. Because typically when they come up and they're like, "Hey, sweetie, want to dance?" and I'm like, "No, I'd really rather not spend. I'm really not here for that tonight." And they'll sit there and pressure you and give you shit and try to cajole you into getting a dance. Where in New York, if you tell a stripper like, "I'm not really," before you can even finish saying you're not interested, they're already walking off to the next guy, which I appreciate. Their professionalism in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, time is money. They're not going to sit there and haggle. They're just going to go to the next one, you know.
Exactly. Yep.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I've actually never been to any of the strip clubs in Iowa, mainly because just from the outside of them, you can tell exactly what they are. The big one here in Des Moines is the Lumber Yard. So.
That is such a goddamn Iowa name for a strip club.
Yeah, where real men get wood, apparently, is their their tagline.
That is just amazing.
Yeah, and then the other one is Big Earl's Gold Mine, and that one, like, just looking at the parking lot, you need a tetanus shot. Like, gravel parking lot, just covered in like blood and vomit. It's just like this gray brick building.
94 Honda Accords. Yeah.
So I know a little bit about your history. At one point, you're an oil man, right? You're up in the fields. That
oil in West Texas, yeah.
Yeah, that's there's probably some like pop-up strip clubs out there, right? And that kind of when you get out to the oil fields, I don't know about the ones in Texas, but I've spent some time and like kind of with some people that have worked in the Canadian oil fields. And they say it's just like it's almost like Tombstone-esque. Like it's just like, you know, pop up casinos and brothels, and you're paying like $6,000 a month to rent a double wide. It's like the Wild West. Is that what like the West Texas oil fields are like?
There's probably a little more infrastructure. I know in Midland where I lived, I don't think they allowed strip clubs, so you'd have to drive to Odessa, which is the neighboring oil town. And, probably not the greatest, not New York or Vegas or LA level women in those places. I don't think it's as much as it's like, because I know a dancer who she used to work in North Dakota, and they would basically, they live in a camp together and then go work at night and just make a shitload of money, then go back to wherever they were from. It's not like that. I think that most of the strippers around West Texas are local.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So
Midland has had 100 years to be an oil city, so you kind of have everything you need out there. Where places like the Dakotas, Montana, and Alberta, Saskatchewan, it's definitely a lot more pop up. They're just kind of getting into the meat of the oil work up there.
Right. So you're a Minnesota kid who ends up in an oil field, who then ends up with his dick in a blow up doll, and is now a content creator for like the top market share of online coffee sellers.
Yes, I mean in a nutshell, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I consider myself a writer first and foremost before everything. That's how I spend most of my time creatively. That's technically how I make most of my money. But yes, I'm a writer / producer, and then obviously I do acting as well. But that's pretty much sums it up. Yeah.
Right.
I will always consider myself a Minnesotan, but I was born in Los Angeles. Spent the first few years of my life there. Yeah.
Okay. So what took your family to Minnesota then? Work, I'm assuming.
My mother's from Minnesota. LA in the late '80s was starting to blow up. I think my dad was able to sell his house in Moore Park, which was, at that time was a very rural town. He was able to sell it for a good amount of money. Moore Park now is just a booming suburb in Simi Valley there. But I think he made some dough off the house and better quality of life in Minnesota, supposedly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'd assume so. I grew up in Western North Carolina in like a small mountain town, and but even there, even moving to the Midwest, I don't really have any complaints other than the winters get a little shitty, but the people are great. The pace of living is pretty chill, and
well, you're in Des Moines, right?
Yep.
Isn't Des Moines consistently ranked as one of the top 3 cities in America to raise a family?
It gets ranked in a lot of things. I don't know about now, but I know like probably 2 years ago, I was on a plane heading to Vegas, actually, surprisingly, and read like the in-flight magazine, and it had a listing about how Des Moines was like in the top 3 5 years in a row for like young professionals to move to. And raising families, it ranks pretty high. It's a pretty cool town. It's trying to think what it compares to. It's probably about the size of Charlotte overall. I mean, Charlotte's a bit sprawling, but
wow, that's bigger than I know it's a big town, but that's bigger than I expected it to be.
Yeah, it's a decent size. Definitely, I'm trying to think of what towns I can compare it to. Like, definitely bigger than Raleigh. But yeah, Charlotte's a pretty good one. But yeah, I mean, Charlotte, obviously, I don't know if anybody's been to Charlotte. Charlotte kind of sprawls, it's spread, whereas Des Moines and its metro are kind of pretty dense in there. And it doesn't take you very long to get to farmland once you leave downtown. But yeah, it's nice.
That's a good thing.
Oh yeah,
I like cities that are designed like that. I'll take a New York over in LA when it comes to that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely nice because there's plenty of things to do, but to get from one end of town to the other, it's like 10 minutes in bad traffic. It doesn't take long to get anywhere.
That's great.
Cost of living's great. No complaints other than, like I said, the winters blow, but you live with it. You've got the summers in Texas and pretty much any other time of year in Texas. Does San Antonio get kind of mild in the winters, or does it stay pretty hot?
No, I've seen it get down to the 30s before here. But yeah, typically it's around the 40s, 50s, 60s on a great day. Last winter was a little warmer. The winter prior to that was pretty cold, from what I recall. But it can be it's jacket weather.
Yeah. Okay. So what?
Not Iowa jacket weather where you gotta put on the big North Face jacket and the beanie.
It doesn't matter.
It's definitely a beanie.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I've got a huge, like this big expensive Swedish brand Fjallraven parka that I wear.
Oh, that's a good brand.
Love it. I bought it in Boston because I went to go see my brother out there. And coming from Des Moines, it was like in February. We went for my birthday. and checking the weather. You know, in Des Moines, it was like 0 degrees with like a -4 wind chill. And then in Boston, because my brother lived out there, it was like, oh, it's going to be like 40s, you know, lows are going to be like 30s. Like, oh, great. I just need to bring like a light jacket. It was the coldest 30 degrees I've ever experienced in Boston. I'm assuming because it's like wet. It was very wet and windy. Like the wind just sweeps through the streets. So I ended up breaking down and buying this like massive, like Fjallraven parka. And I love it. But the Midwest wind, when it's like, it could be, you know, pretty like mild for Midwest terms, like, you know, 15 degrees, but you've got like 10-mile-an-hour winds. That wind just cuts through everything. It doesn't matter what you're wearing. The wind's wind's finding some exposed piece of skin and just raping you with the wind. It's awful.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's rough up there. Yeah.
So
yeah, usually when I go home in the winters, when I go to visit my family in the winters, 3 or 4 days, I get that nostalgic. You know, this is where I grew up feeling, and then I'm ready to kind of get out of that.
Yeah, thaw out a little bit. But
yeah.
So
yeah, back to Texas where it's 50.
Right. So Minnesotan kid, if I'm correct, right? You were kind of in the Minneapolis area growing up.
Yeah, I grew up in the suburbs out there, just probably maybe 15, 20 minutes from downtown. Yeah.
Gotcha. So what?
I never realized how close where I grew up.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I never realized how close I was to when I was a kid. It seemed like such a long drive, but you know, now it's like, oh, it's really quick to get to downtown from where my parents live. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this day and age, you gauge everything on the cost of the Uber ride, right? Instead of being like not 10 minutes,
yes,
it's a $20 Uber ride, it's a $15 Uber ride. If you're going anywhere in Austin, it's a $75 Uber ride.
It's probably a 15 to 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what got you from Minneapolis into the Marines? Like why did you choose to take that path?
Well, everybody has, seems like everybody has a very romantic story on why they joined the military. And, you know, 9/11, the love of my country. Some people, you know, they'll tell you, you know, I wanted to get an education. And really my reasoning is I was just a bored kid from the suburbs, and I needed a little chunk of time, a little buffer, if you will, to decide what I wanted to do. So the Marines seemed like a fun little option. I walked into the recruiting office, and I said, the recruiter, you know, he's like trying to tell me about all the jobs, and I go, well, who are the guys that, you know, like are storming the beaches in the commercials? And he says, the infantry. And I said, okay, I'll do that. Sign me up. And it's pretty much that easy.
Right. Did you enjoy your time in the Marines?
Well, it's you know, 38-year-old me, who's not done it in years, I could say yes, but in the moment, there's more of a this is bullshit type of mindset about it. I will say the greatest thing that some lifelong friendships that I've had, guys that to this day, I was just in D.C. recently, and I was able to meet up with 4 of them at once. One of them is a Green Beret officer now. The other's a CPA that runs his own accounting firm of 30 employees, and the other is like he's about to retire as a lieutenant colonel, and is you know, he works for Homeland Security as an active duty Marine, and just all kicking ass in life, and all guys I just admire professionally and personally, and yeah, I walked away with a lot. I just got back from Midland, Texas, where I was doing a story about the police department out there, and it was spurned from one of my old Marine buddies who's a cop out there, and I did a ride along with him, and I decided to go back and do a story about it, basically.
Awesome. Yeah. So, again, trying to think back through kind of what I've heard. were you? Was it you? Somebody was stationed, kind of at the same place in the same time as like Dan and JT. I don't know if that was you or not though. Can't recall.
That was not me. They were. No, I had real no. I would have. Working Jared, JT. He knows everybody on the fucking planet. I've never seen a natural networker like Jared, and a lot of it's just fate. Like, he just always ends up coincidentally sitting next to the right people, making conversation, and having their number within 10 minutes. Jared, there's a 2 or 3 degrees of separation with Jared and mostly everyone that works at Black Rifle and how they spent their time in the military. I'm kind of an outlier. I don't have any. Was never on deployment around the same time. Was never around them around the same time when we were in military service. So yeah, their experiences are different than mine. That was a long fucking answer for a short answer.
Gotcha. So, kind of breaking up a little bit, but somebody asked in the live chat, asking, "Oh, how is Ross and Dan as a boss?"
I've got no complaints. I'm able to talk. I've got zero complaints. They both. I don't interact with them that much, other than I see them maybe for 2 or 3 hours when I come. Only because I go into the studio early, and they're typically, after those guys get off their show, they're still working. They're having to run a business. I've known Ross professionally for 8 years now. So I've worked for him before, when he directed the movie and all that. And he's always encouraged me to do whatever I want. He's given me critique, and it's been very good critique. And when I have listened to the critique, I've gotten better. He's been performing much longer than me. I value his opinions. Dan is Dan. I've known Dan in personal settings before he was my boss, and Dan is Dan. He's very blunt when he talks to you. When I first met him, maybe 6 years ago, I was like, "What the fuck is this guy's deal?" And then you just realize that's Dan. And I don't take it personally. Whenever he has something to say, that's just Dan.
Right.
He calls me bitch almost at least once in every conversation.
Oh yeah. His endearing. Yeah, his endearing term for me is piece of shit. So.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
I know. Somebody's like, really? Like he called you a piece of shit a lot. I was like, yeah, that's just how Dan is. Like,
you're good, man. He likes you.
If he didn't like me, he wouldn't take the time to insult me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So yeah. So.
Yeah, they're good, great bosses. Great bosses.
Yeah. So before we hop off of here, one question. So you got kind of a weird question for you. You travel a lot, like plane travel. What is like your go-to movie to watch on the road?
Okay, so can I put television in there?
Yeah, of course.
Or does it have to be a movie?
No, you can go television.
Historically, if I was staying at a hotel or on an airplane, I'll watch the fuck out of The Office. Like I haven't seen that episode 20 times before. I also, now that Office is no longer on Netflix, I have HBO Max as well. I go to The Sopranos a lot.
Oh yeah, Sopranos.
But I look at it when I'm traveling. I look at watching comedies as I'm enjoying it, but I also look at it as work research, which is a good mindset to have. And I work in comedy. I'm always trying to draw inspiration or from other people's work. Not any ideas not to do what they do, not to tell the same jokes, but I'm seeing style, the way people do certain style of comedy, and so to me, watching comedy is on an airplane on the road. I might as well be doing work, and I mean that in a good way. Like I'm getting two great things at once. I'm improving myself as a writer and a creator, and I'm getting to enjoy something that I like.
Yeah, I could. You said The Office, and I'm sure people in the live chat are gonna start lighting up. I can go on and on about how Pam is one of the worst people in television history, but we won't go. That's a different episode.
I've seen the memes. Yeah,
that's a different episode. That's a ranting episode, or maybe I'll call into Jack Sesh tonight, and me and you can go off on Pam. But my
on Pam, yeah.
My go-to airplane movie is definitely Heat. I go Heat typically when I.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Well, you can see got the.
That's a good one.
Got the poster, the Kilmer poster up there. But now that I will say, that I purchased the new Top Gun on digital, streaming, might have to go Top Gun. Switch it up a little bit. I've seen Heat a lot, so.
Yeah, you got to ease your way out of routine every once in a while.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, kids are going nuts. But Gigi in the live chat says she loves your Puckett shirt.
Oh yeah. I almost part of me just wishes I didn't set the precedent of taking my shirt off for the Friday Night Jack Sesh, because this is one of those shirts that I just love to show to everybody and flex. I love this shirt. I saw it when I was up at a Target Field at a Twins game a couple weeks ago, and I said I got to have that. So I'll probably be wearing this to every Twins game I go to from now on.
Nice. And then they're in the live chat here also. Shout out to Taco, just chilling in the back seat.
Oh yeah, just being a good little boy.
How old is Taco?
That's a good little boy right there. He's fixing to turn 8.
8, okay. Is that
the guy next to me?
Go ahead.
The guy parked next to me, I was watching him get into his car, and the way he had to ease his way into the car, I immediately recognized that he has a lower lumbar injury. I saw it the second because I've dealt with that myself, and I saw it right away. I'm like, I know that move right there.
Yeah, when you're.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something from a guy who's just a pussy comedy writer now, who used to do blue collar work. Lift with your fucking legs, 20-year-olds. Lift with your goddamn legs. It will catch up to you.
Right. Do you have some extra lumbar support in the Volvo?
Volvos are comfy, man. Yeah, Volvo's good for the back.
Yeah, my new Subaru has adjustable lumbar support. Really like that.
Oh yeah.
Get that lumbar support. Yep. Run it all the way out and turn on the heated seats.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Well, cool, man. So one more question before we went live. You were saying that you like history, and you were saying that the Japanese deserved it. Would you like to elaborate on that?
I do not recall saying that at all. That's putting me in a weird situation right there where I have to explain something that didn't happen. Yeah, definitely those words did not come out of my mouth. And if you're asking if they deserved American baseball, of course. It's been one of our greatest exports to the world. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant, was American baseball. No, I was just fucking with you, man.
Yeah.
So, but cool. Thanks again for taking the time to come on. Again, had a blast with you in Minneapolis, and thanks for the drinks and the dinner. I've never seen anybody so excited for olives and calamari as you, but.
Yeah, I have my appetizer routines. Yeah, I was in on a martini kick that night, and I'm not typically a martini guy, but I was down. It just was the kind of place where you gotta order a martini, Jack.
Yeah, it definitely had that kind of martini sex appeal about it. That bar up on the top floor.
Oh yeah. Well, what happened was I got back to my sister, and I got back pretty early. It was probably 9:30 when I got back to my sister's house, and she was up watching the Twins game, and I had a couple of those martinis, and I sat up on her couch and fell asleep sitting up on her couch watching the Twins in the final inning.
Yeah, martinis will get you. They will.
Yeah.
They creep up on you fast. But again, cool. Like, thanks again for taking the time. You know, plug all your stuff. You know, you're going to be on Jack Sesh tonight, correct?
I'll be on the Friday night Jack Sesh. It'll be on the main YouTube page and Drinking Bros podcast. We'll probably be going live around 5:30 to 6. And Taco will be there. Bill, hopefully you'll be calling in. I know there'll be a couple other people calling in, hopefully, and hopefully get some new voices too on the other end of the line.
Yeah, for sure. So
I got 5 hours to get into character. You got me so relaxed and feeling good, Bill.
Yeah, just you know, like shotgun some like really awful beer and grab some P. Terry's or something to be ready to go.
Just get into character of peace. I told Joel I'm decorating the set like it's a 40-year-old man who's never left his parents' house. So that's the vibe we're going to be going for.
Oh, yeah? So is there going to be a lava lamp? You know, no, don't want to spoil too much.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a lava lamp?
We're thinking about lava lamps, yeah.
Or like a neon.
Maybe a Limp Bizkit poster.
Yeah, like a neon beer sign.
Yep. Yeah.
For like Stella because you're
St.
older.
Pauli's girl. Like,
no, you gotta go Stella because you're older, right? And your beer taste is sophisticated, so you go with Stella, which is essentially the Bud Light of Europe, you know.
Right.
Well, cool. So yeah, definitely go check out Jack Sesh tonight. It's a blast. Go. Social medias. You're just Jack Mandaville, I believe.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's JackMandaville. Well, somebody was like, "Do you think the reason you don't have a lot of followers is because of your last name is hard to spell?" And I said, "I don't think it's because of my last name. I think it's because I'm just like the guy they recognize from stuff, but like they're not going to follow on social media, you know. I'm not a guy that people strive to be, so I think people just kind of recognize me from videos and TV shows they've seen, and they're like, "Oh, he's that guy."
Yeah. You're not striving to be the next Dan Bilzerian on Instagram. Is what you're saying?
No, God, I see my friends who have, you know, people I know who have like a lot, and they work on the internet a lot, and it seems just fucking exhausting. The amount of shit. Because if I wake up and there's like maybe 5 or 6 messages from people from, you know, the last time I looked at it, I almost had a panic attack because I'm like, oh God, no! Now I got to enter into 6 conversations, and it's not because I don't like people. It's just like I have such social anxiety at times that like I stress out about disappointing people, and then if you get into an actual conversation with me, then you're going to see I'm not these characters I play, and you're going to be disappointed in me.
Yeah. Well, anyways, so
this is why I drink, Bill.
Yeah. Well, I drink because my dad was English, and it's, you know, just inherited.
Yeah. It's cultural and genetic.
Yes, for sure. But yeah, go find Jack, pump up those numbers, you know. Don't trigger his anxiety though. Let's leave Jack alone. Let him be. And while you're at it, you know the drill. Go like and subscribe to the Nooner Nation on YouTube. We're close to 200, which is Jack, not a lot, but you know you got to start somewhere, right? And 200 is the next milestone for subscribers. So let's knock that one out of the park, guys. Go to iTunes, rate and review, and share. Just share this. Let's grow. And that kind of the best growth is word of mouth. So go share that. And then kind of another big announcement is, as most of you probably already know, I finally launched the website for the minor league studios, which, you know, not to get too deep in the weeds, essentially just a place. There's all these people that have, you know, you got like me, you got Beth and Greg, JJ, all these people that are kind of doing content creation on the small time, trying to make it big. And instead of all of them having to, build and pay for a website just to have a page, like an internet presence or a place to sell merch, they just come to this website. We host it. You can network. Really great for cross promotion. Somebody comes on there looking for your stuff. They find somebody else's stuff. So go check that out, minorleaguestudios.com. A couple of us already have some stuff, on there for sale to support kind of what we're doing. You can even actually, since, none of us have 1,000 YouTube subscribers, we can't do the super chats where Google gets half of it anyways. But so there's stuff in there if you just want to go donate $5 to support, all these small time content creators, you can do that. And go check it out, minorleaguestudios.com. Jack, this was a blast. Thanks again. I'll let you and Taco get on the road, get you in character, and we'll see you tonight.